ओमज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मीलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरुवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टां स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपा कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदात्मिकं। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरु श्रीयुतपदकमलं श्रीगुरून् वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपसाग्रजातं सहकर्णा रघुनाथान्वितां तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधा कृष्णपादान् सहगणा ललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च। हे कृष्णा करुणा सिन्धु दीनबन्धु जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिका कान्ता राधा कान्ता नमोऽस्तुते। तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये। वाञ्छकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभैव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 रामा राम राम हरे हरे। नमो विष्णुपदाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्ति वेदांत स्वामी नामिने। नमस्ते सरस्वती देवी गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देश तारिणे। Hare Krishna. So the verse that we have here today is 2.4.7 Srimad Bhagavatam. Let me share my screen first so that's easy for you to read. Okay. So let's read the verse together. यथा गोपायति विभुर यथा सम्याचते पुनः यम यम शक्तिम् उपाश्रित्य पुरुशक्ति परा परम पमन पुमान पुरुशक्ति परा पुमान आत्मानां केन्द्री क्रीडायान क्रीडान करोति विकारोति च। अगेन यथा गोपायति विभुर यथा सम्याच्यते पुनः यम यम शक्तिम् उपाश्रित्य पुरुशक्ति परा पुमान आत्मानां क्रीडायान क्रीडान विका करोति विकारोति च। Okay. Synonyms. Yatha, as. Gopayati, maintains. Vibhu, the great. Yatha, as. Samyachate, winds up. Punah, again. Yam yam, as. Shaktim, energies. Upashritya, by employing. Purushakti, the all-powerful. Para, the supreme. Puman, personality of Godhead. Atmanam, plenary expansion. Kridayan, having engaged them. Kridan, as also personally being engaged. Karoti, does them. Vikaroti, and causes to be done. Vikaroti. Cha, and. A translation. So translation by Srila Prabhupada. Kindly describe how the Supreme Lord, who is all-powerful, engages his different energies and different expansions in maintaining and again winding up the phenomenal world in the sporting spirit of a player. So this is being asked by Parikshit Maharaj, like we have been seeing in the series. So this is discussion between uh, Parikshit Maharaj and Sukdev Goswami. Let's read the purport by Srila Prabhupada. Purport. In the Katha Upanishad 2.2.13, the Supreme Lord is described as the chief eternal being amongst all other eternal individual beings. Nityo Nityanam Chetanas Chetananam. And the one Supreme Lord who maintains innumerable other individual beings, Eko Bahunam Yo Vidhanti Kaman. Vidadhati Kaman, sorry. So all living entities, both in the conditioned state and in the liberated state, are maintained by the Almighty Supreme Lord. Such maintenance is effected by the Lord through his different expansions of self and three physical energies, namely the internal, external, and marginal energies. The living entities are his marginal energies, and some of them, in the confidence of the Lord, are entrusted to work of creation also, as are Brahma, Marichi, etc. And the acts of creation are inspired by the Lord unto them. Tene Brahma Hirda. So it's inspired by the Lord. The external energy, Maya, is also impregnated with the jivas or conditioned souls. The unconditioned marginal potency acts in the spiritual kingdom, and the Lord, by his different plenary expansions, maintains them in different transcendental relations displayed in the spiritual sky. So, the one Supreme Personality of Godhead manifests himself in many Bahusyam, and thus all diversities are in him. And he is in all diversities, although he is nevertheless different from all of them. That is the inconceivable mystic power of the Lord. And as such, everything is simultaneously one with and different from him by his inconceivable potencies. Achintya Bheda Bhed Tattva. So, a lot of content in this purport, a lot of topics Srila Prabhupada has touched upon here. So, by praying the assembled Vaishnavas here and Guru Maharaj and Srila Prabhupada and all the Acharyas, so I'll speak whatever I heard from them. Please forgive me for any mistakes that happen along the way. So, a lot of things here. So, the Supreme Lord is the chief eternal being. This is being said here, right? Nityo Nityanam Chetanas Chetananam. So, he also maintains one Supreme Lord, maintains innumerable other living entities. So, let me just refer to my notes here. So it's all. Now this is Achintya Bheda Bhed Tattva is coming in here. Uh, maintenance is affected by the Lord through his different expansions of self and the different three energies here which are mentioned, right? Internal, external, and marginal energies. So now one interesting thing which I heard actually got reference this morning, two places. Now this is improvisation from what I had prepared for this discussion. So in the lecture which came from Srila Prabhupada this morning, and again one more forward that came. So from two places, this reference of Bhasmasur and the Mohini Murti, this topic came. So actually, coincidentally, Srila Prabhupada was also talking about this external energy Maya and how it impregnates the jivas or conditioned souls. So Srila Prabhupada says, and he was explaining it very nicely. I'll just try. I cannot explain like him. So he says, so look at this external energy that Lord has. So this is Maya. So Bhasmasur, being Asur, now he did a lot of tapasya for Lord Shiva, who is also called Asutosh. So he got happy because he is Asutosh. He gets happy very fast. So he got happy, and so he said to Bhasmasur, okay, you ask for a boon. So Bhasmasur says, okay, give me boon that whoever I put my hands on, whoever's head, the person is done and burned to ashes and all. So Lord Shiva says, okay. And Bhasmasur, under the influence of Maya, then he says, okay, let me test it. So let me test it on you. Let me see if it works. And he is after Lord Shiva. So Lord Shiva goes to uh, Vishnuji, Lord Vishnu, and so he talks about. So Srila Prabhupada says that this energy of the Lord, Maya, he is very. So energies of the Lord are very intricate. So one of the examples is this Maya and how it operates and makes people do different kind of things in all the jivas and living entities and conditioned souls. So this was the example given by Srila Prabhupada. In very interesting. So, so the Lord, uh, he himself manifests in many different forms. Uh, all the variations are in him, and he is also in all the variations or diversities, as we call it. Uh, that is the power of the Lord. It's inconceivable. It's beyond our comprehension. We cannot understand. Uh, so he also, Srila Prabhupada also spoke of this. One more example, again in this morning's lecture on Achintya Bheda Bhed Tattva. So he says fire and heat both have warmth, but they are not the same. Warmth is there in fire and warmth is there in heat, but they are, so the common thing is warmth, but they are still different. So that is how the Achintya Bheda Bhed Tattva is. It's one and different at the same time. So now another topic that is here is how do we try and understand this inconceivable potency that Lord has. We cannot understand, but how can we appreciate it, or how do we realize it? So we also, it came in a few verses earlier as well. To appreciate and to put our faith firmly onto the Lord, we have to appreciate His greatness. Only when we know the greatness can we have faith. So the greatness is given in so many verses in different scriptures. Bhagavad Gita also speaks about it. 8:9, Bhagavad Gita 8.9. So one thing uh, which we should focus on is that person knows everything. He is the all-knowing Lord. He is the oldest. He is the controller, and he is smaller than the smallest. So a lot of examples are given. We have read this. One thing which is very interesting and which is what we should all focus on is he is a person. So it's not impersonal void. It is the person, the supreme personality of Godhead. The process of understanding or focusing on the void or impersonalists is very difficult. It's not possible to focus our energies, attention onto void. Yesterday we heard from Balram Prasad Prabhu also on the Bhagavad Gita class, and how concentrating on void is so difficult. So I don't want to repeat all that, but uh, it's we all know it's very difficult. And so it's important that we always keep this in our mind that the Lord is a person. Um, he knows everything, past, present, and future. He is older than the oldest because everything came from him. He controls everything. He is smaller than the smallest because the living entity, I mean, in Bhagavad Gita we heard, right, in 1/10,000th part of tip of a hair. And the Lord is so powerful that he enters heart of even this living entity. So he's so small. He can be so small and he can be so big. He is there everywhere and he maintains everything as well. So I mean this is just to repeat. Everyone has heard this, but the more we repeat, the more it gets solidified in our minds, at least in my mind. Um, so unless we understand the greatness of the Lord, the faith on the Lord does not get cemented. It keeps shaking once in a while. So we have to always remember the faith that we have to have on the Lord. Uh, Another thing which is there is on 9.11, again, Bhagavad Gita. So not everyone understands that that everyone is, uh, so fools deride the Lord when he takes human form, because they cannot understand that even in the human form, it is the Supreme Lord. They think it's just like another person, like a common person, like us around. Um, so they just cannot imagine that how a Supreme Personality of Godhead can appear as a human. So there are a lot of things given. I mean, Brahma Samhita in itself is such a, I mean, it's such a eye opener. Every time you read, it is a total explanation of how the Lord is great. He's the original personality. He's the supreme person. Ishvara Parama Krishna. So Sachidanand Vigraha. His body is transcendental place. So all those things are there. One thing which is also there is that as long as we have this body, uh, it will always be committing sins, irrespective of whether do pious activities or impious. Will continue to incur sins upon sins, and will keep taking birth after birth. There is no um, turning back from it. Unless we start thinking about the Lord, the spiritual values, and what is the Atma Tattva, will not understand uh, the Lord. And unless we understand the Lord, uh, we'll continue to be in the cycle repeatedly again and again. So, I mean, this question comes always because a lot of people are doing pious activities. Uh, so they also ask, right, that we are doing good activities, pious activities. Why are we incurring sins? Well, because in pious activities also, those four problems, birth, death, old age, and disease, those are not going away. Everyone has to take birth through the same painful process, uh, and then again go through the old age, disease, death eventually. So irrespective of whether we do pious or not, it's not um, going to liberate us. Um, unless we think about the activities of the Lord, we are not going to get out of this material world, the cycle of birth and death. Whether we take birth in a aristocratic family or a rich family or a poor family, uh, it's going to keep going into cycles. Sometimes even if you go into demigod or demigod's body, they also have to go through the same cycles. It's just that the duration is higher, longer, but eventually they have to do the same things. There is no respite from all that. So unless we think about this process of understanding the Lord, we'll never get out of this process of birth and death and old age and disease. Uh, so one thing which also, how do we get out of this? So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has spoken about it. Uh, Na dhanam, na janam, na sundarim. So the only way is Tivra Bhakti. I mean, we forget everything else. Uh, we don't want, unless one gets into that platform where one is not thinking about dhanam or janam, I mean, people to control, money to have, or women, unless people get out of all this, unless we get out of all this, there is no respite from this. We'll always be Nitya Baddhas. We'll keep taking birth after birth. Uh, lifetimes after lifetimes. It will keep on happening. There is a reference of Ishopanishad. I mean, if we use Ishopanishad's mantras here, so soul obtains a human form after evolution of many millions of years in the cycle of transmigration. So the references here are from the boat, the analogy of boat and the boatman that we know. So the human body is compared to the boat, and the boatman is our guru, our saintly acharyas, teachers, all these people. So unless we put ourselves into the hands of acharyas and gurus, we'll never be able to cross the material ocean. This is given in Ishopanishad. So what is important here is that we have this human body. Now, because jivas are there and there are 8.4 million species, there can be so many births, but human birth is only one. So the facility that we have as a human is very unique. It's more important than animal life. Why is it? Because we are here to perform some higher level purposes, which are possible only in this human birth. That is why even demigods have to come to the human birth to take to bhakti. For example, this example is also quoted by Srila Prabhupada many times. He talks of high-ranking government official and a clerk. Both are given duties to perform, but then the duties that a government official, a high-ranking government official has, is much more evolved, much more important, and then accordingly is given those kind of facilities too. So is the case with human life and animal life, for example. Because we have human body, we are supposed to perform more evolved activities, not just the basic things that animals do. Now, this is Kali Yuga, so to be at the same place, this is also given by Srila Prabhupada in some places. Eventually, in Kali Yuga, what will happen is people will have to do more to stay at the same place. We all are seeing. I mean, uh, we have to do more effort. We have to do more work. We have to keep working hard, uh, like animals. We have to try to get out of it. That can happen only when we take shelter to the Lord. When we think about the Lord all the time through the Tivra Bhakti process, uh, when we are totally focused on the Lord, when our actions, our thoughts, everything is dedicated to the Lord, that is the way of getting out of this material life of bondage. And if we fail to discharge the duties as human, then again, we are forced to move up or down depending upon how we do. So either upper planets or lower planets, but then the cycle will keep on. So yeah, this is what I understood from this verse. Any comments? Anything anyone wants to add?
Hare Krishna Prabhu, Dandot Pranam, All Guru Vishnu Srila Prabhupada.
Hare Krishna Prabhu.
The one which you said in this Kali, the last sentence, I was just thinking about it. This sometimes it is very it's very straining for us to work in the offices and go around here and there. My God, it is too much. But based on years of experience in working, right? Then finally said, we'll get frustrated. You're right. But the same thing when you come to devotional service, don't think that devotional service is easy in one sense. You know how much our Dhananjay Pandit Prabhu wakes up around 2:30 in the morning, and one after the other, then he has to cook and this. This is still more, if you look at it, it is still more strain. But what's the difference is, If you are in working for Krishna, end of the day you will be blissful. But other one, it's not blissful, it's frustrating. That's the only difference.
Yes, absolutely, bro.
So I feel,
Yeah.
my God, this is Pujari service is too much. I
Yeah.
I'm experiencing slowly. It's too much.
Mm,
I don't know how do we do that. But end of the day, outcome is really blissful.
absolutely. Absolutely, bro.
Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you, bro. Okay. Anyone else? Any other thoughts? Okay. I think we are good to close the discussion for now.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Prabhu. Nice
Okay.
class.
Thank you, bro. Kल्पतरुभ्यः कृपा सिन्धुभ्यश्च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय।